walls with boughs of holly. 'Tis the season to be jolly. Don we now our bright apparel. Join the ancient Yuletide carol.
Good morning, McDowell. I'm Mandy with the Trojan News Network, here with an exciting episode of Trojans Today. We have an exciting lineup for you this week. We'll start with Megan, who will show us the safety precautions being taken so that you can spend a holiday in Disney. Next up, we'll head over to Gianna, Gabby, and Alyssa, who will show us the true meaning of holiday spirit by giving us opportunities to make a difference in your community this season. Next up, we'll go over to Kira, who has a festive episode of Cooking with Kira where she'll show us to make melted snowman cookies. Finally, we'll head over to me and Emily, who will show you fun ways that you can celebrate the holiday with your family, even if you can't be together. As you may notice, many of our reporters were expecting Kira to be our host for this week's episode. However, due to unforeseen circumstances, I will be taking her place to wish everybody a festive season on her behalf. But first, let's head over to trivia. If you know the answer, follow the link on screen or in the description. And congratulations to last show's winner, Mrs. Holmberg, with the correct answer of 46 million turkeys.
See the blazing wheel before us. Strike the harp and join the chorus. Follow me in merry measure.
Best of luck to everyone who tried today's trivia. The winners will be announced on our next show, so stay tuned. Now let's head over to Megan, where she'll take us to the most magical place on Earth to celebrate the holiday season.
Good morning, McDowell. My name is Megan, and today I will be taking you on a journey. The COVID-19 pandemic is presenting us with so many changes and guidelines that it's difficult to make plans and things just don't seem normal. Well, my mom and I have booked a vacation to the most magical place on Earth in Orlando, Florida, and we will be showing you all of the precautions that Disney is taking to ensure that their guests are completely safe. And what better time to travel than the holidays? We flew out of the Cleveland airport and into the Orlando airport. In the airports, everyone did their best to stay socially distant from each other, and masks were mandatory. When we boarded our flights, we were informed that the airline had disinfected our plane before we got on. After our flight, we boarded the Magical Express, which took us to our resort. The bus was cleaned before we got on, and the seating was designed so that there were no guests in front of us or next to us. It was almost like a crisscross pattern. There were also short films playing on the screens to remind us to wear a mask at all times, to wash our hands, and to stay socially distant from other guests during our stay. When it came down to go to the parks, there were tents that we had to go through before we entered. At these tents, there was an employee that took our temperature to make sure that we were not running a fever. We arrived at the Magic Kingdom. Let's head in. At the gift shops, there were entrances marked with enter only and exit only signed. This helped control the flow of people, and it also helped the cast members to keep track of how many guests were inside the store at certain times. Throughout the park, there were hand sanitizer dispensers. These dispensers were automatic so that each guest did not have to touch it, and they were refilled often. In the lines for rides, there were many precautions taken. The first are the trash can signs. These informed guests not to eat or drink in lines and that face masks must be worn at all times. Next, there were markers on the ground indicating where to stand. These markers that were placed 6 feet apart helped to make sure guests were socially distant at all times. When the lines would cause guests to get closer to other guests, there were plexiglass barriers to eliminate the close interaction between them. From time to time, cast members would come over the loudspeaker and read a script that told all of the precautions that guests must follow.
Face coverings must fully cover your nose and mouth and be worn at all times while remaining on the attractions. Guests that do not comply will be asked to leave.
These announcements not only occurred in the lines for attractions, but throughout the parks as well.
Wash your hands often and thoroughly. Cover your mouth and nose when coughing and sneezing, and maintain physical distancing.
The seating on attractions was also planned. On coasters, guests occupied their own car and families of more than 2 filled up that car's seats. This made sure that guests were socially distant even on the attractions. Disney made sure to go the extra mile when it came to ordering food. Guests were not allowed to walk around when eating or drinking throughout the parks. Instead, they had to be seated where they could take their mask off to enjoy their meal. Disney used 2 techniques in restaurants in order to make things safer and more efficient. They first implemented mobile ordering. To do this, guests log into their Disney account on their device, select the location where they would like to order from, choose what they would like to order, and place their order. When they arrive at that location, guests press the "I'm here, prepare my order" button, and the app tells you when your food is ready to be picked up. At sit-down restaurants, there was a virtual menu rather than a physical menu. To access this, guests will scan a QR code with their device that will take them to the online menu. Traveling during a pandemic is not easy and may seem restricting, but with a little Disney magic, you can still have an enjoyable visit and experience what Disney has to offer. From the Trojan News Network, I'm Megan Longo. Now, back to Kira.
Thanks, Megan. That looks like so much fun. Now let's head over to Gabby, Gianna, and Alyssa, who will show us how to embrace the season of giving by giving our time to our community.
Hello, McDowell. I'm Alyssa.
I'm Gabby.
And I'm Gianna.
Despite the current pandemic, there is still good in the world, such as people volunteering their time to help the community. Let's go to Gabby at Toys
Welcome,
for
and today I'll be volunteering at Toys for Tots. I'll be talking to a sergeant who's in charge to understand what the program is really about and why you should volunteer. Let's go there now.
Yeah, so it's a program since 1947. A reserve Marine major by the name of Hendricks. He and his wife, I believe her name was Diane, they were trying to donate a Raggedy Ann doll and their home of record in Los Angeles, and they realized there was no organization at the time. So since then, the program has been was born, and we basically donate toys from infant to 17 years old to the less fortunate. This will be my first year actually being involved in the program. I got here just about when the program for Erie at least commenced. So I've been serving with the Marine Corps in Erie for about a little over a year and a half. Specifically at a time like this during the pandemic, so many have lost so much due to no fault of their own. And to be doing something like this and have a heart of civility is honestly the best.
Now back to Alyssa.
Sounds nice, Gabby. So today I talked to the superintendent of the Humane Society, Jenna, to see what they're doing for the holidays.
Yeah, so the Humane Society, basically what we do is, so our mission is to rescue, rehabilitate, and rehome. So we take animals that can be in, need homes. They could be strays, they could be surrenders or cruelty type of situations, and we go ahead and rescue them, which is to provide temporary shelter, veterinary care, and rehabilitation services for needy and domesticated pets in our community. For the holidays, essentially what we do is we do our best to host a lot of programs and adoption events to help our animals get the things that they need, but also to help them to find homes. So right now we have the 12 Strays of Christmas, and that is an event we're hosting for the public to buy Christmas gifts for our shelter pets. So we also have some raffles going on and things like that to help raise funds for our animals here. Oh, and then we also actually are planning on cooking a Christmas dinner for the animals here at the shelter.
Ooh.
So that's going to be fun. They're going to get a good meal on the holidays just like the rest of us. We try our best to do as much as we can just to get them in the holiday spirit.
And now let's head over to Gianna.
Despite these sad and unprecedented times, there are still some positive things happening in the world. From spending more time with your pets to video chatting with your loved ones. I talked to some fellow students to see what good things are still happening to them despite the pandemic. Here's what they said.
I think of one good thing that's happened. It's that I've had this surgery over the summer, and I've been like preparing for that my whole life because it's been like a long journey. So that was really, like, we didn't even think that it was going to happen during COVID, but it did, and it went really well. So
a lot of my family actually moved to Erie, which is great because now we're all living within like 2 miles of each other.
We all want with friends a lot, even though I don't see them.
So basically, we've just tried to make the most of it. Yeah.
I really enjoyed volunteering and hope some of you watching decide to volunteer too. From Trojan News Network, I'm Gabby.
I'm Gianna.
And I'm Melissa. Now back to Kira for more exciting news.
Those look like great opportunities. Remember to make a difference in your community, Trojans. While volunteering might look different this year, the impact you'll make on someone's life is just as important, if not even more. Now that we've made a difference in our community, let's head over to our own kitchen as we head over to this month's episode of Cooking with Kira, where she'll show us how to make melting snowman cookies. So cute. Thanks for sharing that recipe with us, Kira. Celebrating the holiday season is going to be difficult this year as many families are unable to meet in person. While it may be different, it doesn't have to be any less fun. Let's head over to me and Emily to learn the safe ways to celebrate. Good morning, McDowell. My name is Mandy.
And I'm Emily. This year, celebrating the holidays is more difficult than ever, especially if you want to celebrate safely.
So today, we're going to show you how to make some ornaments and crafts that you can make at home with your families and mail to your family and friends over this holiday season.
Our first craft are these easy melted snowman ornaments that even your pets will love. All you will need is a hot glue gun, wax paper, ribbon or string, and some cute little decorations. Start off by plugging in your hot glue gun and letting it heat up. Now you can place your ribbon in a loop so we can hang from the tree. Carefully put a big blob of hot glue on the paper. You may need other glue stick from time to time depending on how big you make it. Add your decorations to your heart desires and let it dry. Then peel it up, and you got yourself an adorable melted snowman.
Next up, we're going to make mini stockings that you can hang on your tree and around your house. For this craft, you'll need fabric. You'll also need a needle and thread, fabric glue or a sewing machine. And to decorate your stockings, you can use whatever you'd like. I'm using ribbons and buttons. Start by drawing out the shape of your stocking on a piece of paper, then add about 1/2 inch around that shape. We call this seam allowance. Cut out this shape and pin it to a fabric of your choice. Cut out 2 of these stocking shapes. Fold the top of each piece down about 1/2 inch like so. Then glue or sew it in place. These stocking pieces should mirror each other. Now sew or glue the pieces together with the right sides facing in. Once you're done, flip it inside out. Now you're free to decorate your stocking however you want. I'm using ribbon to make a loop to hang it from. Your last step is to display your stockings proudly around your house and even on your Christmas tree. You could also mail these to a friend. But don't put away your craft supplies yet. Emily has a paper chain for your tree.
For this paper chain, you will need to grab a stapler and any kind of paper. You'll want to cut the paper into about 1.5 inch strips. You can do this as many times as you like or until you feel like you have enough for your tree. While creating a circle with the paper strips, staple them and just keep linking them until you feel it is long enough. Eventually, you'll end up with something looking like this. It is more fun when you do it with family and friends, and when you're all done, you can wrap it around your gorgeous Christmas tree.
For our last craft, we'll be making wine cork reindeer. You will need wine corks from wine that your parents drank, a hot glue gun, a sharp knife that you'll be very careful with, a marker, wire, scissors, and decorations like buttons and ribbon. Start by marking one wine cork about 3/4 of the way down and cutting this piece off. Then clean up the edges. You'll want to set aside the smaller piece for later. The bigger piece will become the head of your reindeer. Glue this on to one full wine cork to make the body. Next, use that smaller piece from earlier, or a new piece to cut if you'd like, and cut it in half. Then cut the semicircles in half, but not all the way. Just make a notch. These will be the feet. You can pull them apart and then glue them onto the bottom of the body. Next, your reindeer needs antlers. You can use wire or pipe cleaner if you want to. Make these pieces the same length, and then fold them into the shape that you'd like your antlers to be. Remember, antlers aren't perfect, but remember to make 2. Now you can glue them onto the back of your reindeer's head. Now comes the most fun part. It's time to decorate. I like to use ribbon to make a scarf. You can use buttons or googly eyes for the eyes, and whatever you'd like to use for the nose. There's a lot of ways you can decorate your reindeer, but the most important thing to add is love. And as always, display your masterpieces proudly for everyone to see and enjoy. That's all for today, McDowell. Make sure you celebrate smartly and safely during this holiday season. Get crafting, and don't forget to wash your hands. Now back to Kira with more news. Those were so much fun to make. I hope you guys try it out. That's all for today's episode. Thank you so much for joining us. This holiday season is going to be much different than those in years past, but the spirit of holidays can be shared across screens.